hope you're ready for another terrific episode of The Practical Divorce Lawyer, because here it is. Hey everybody, in case you're new here, I'm Jonathan Noble, divorce and family law attorney, and I've been making videos since about 2020, and every year I make a video about the number one thing that I see in divorce and family court that derails guys the most. And in 2020, 2021, and 2022, that thing was having a child with a woman that you don't plan to marry or co-parent with. Okay, that was my number one observation to derail your life, especially if the woman's a terrorist and they don't let you see the kid and they always want more money and they take you through the child support system. It is an absolute disaster for most guys. So now in 2023, I'm going to make the 2023 edition. And it's actually two things, all right? The first one is having a child with a woman that you don't plan to marry or co-parent with. Surprise! It's the same thing. I see it all the time. You have unprotected sex. You have a baby with a woman that you really don't even know that well, and she just makes your life miserable, all right? So it is a disaster for a lot of guys. If someone's claiming that they're having your baby, you better make damn sure that it's yours. So demand a paternity test if there's any doubt whatsoever, because I've seen cases where a woman will hook the ambitious guy and say the baby's his, and it's not his. But once he signs that birth certificate or acknowledgement of paternity, there's no turning back, all right? So what's the second thing that I've seen over the last year that derails guys? That would be, and this is a tie for first, I've seen so much of this, a guy that has no control over his emotions, and he gets involved with a woman who's overly emotional and maybe violent and doesn't walk away. And he ends up on the wrong side of a protected from abuse filing where he has to convince a court that he didn't do anything wrong. Don't let that be you. The number one thing is don't get caught up with people who you can determine are unstable or have a history of accusing others of violence on them and then involving the court system. Now, not everybody's perfect all the time, but I've seen guys stay in relationships because the sex was great, but the woman's crazy. And the next thing you know, they get into an argument, maybe she gets violent towards him, which is never acceptable, and he stays in the relationship. And then the next thing you know, she's accusing him of things he didn't do. Use all that energy, money, and bandwidth on yourself, on building yourself up so you could attract the right kind of people, not fighting off these bald, false allegations that could haunt you for years, all right? So I've seen it happen a couple of times recently, and I've seen it happen many times over the last year where a guy just keeps trying to fix somebody else or thinking that it will somehow get better. It comes off the rails, and maybe he does something that's against his better judgment, or he has a momentary lapse in reason, and it comes back to hurt him. Don't let that be you, all right? I'd rather see you go live your best life and not deal with this stuff. But I'm in court a lot. I see it happen all the time. Share this with somebody who needs to see it, who really needs an awakening before it's too late, all right? And be careful out there.